Okay, so we are limited to 15 minutes per clip on YouTube. So we're having to severely edit our interviews, especially this one, which is about an hour long. And we're going to post the entire interview on a different video site and embed it into the blog post. But if you want to fully understand what's being said, read the blog post, and then you'll be able to see what the commentary is about the questions, because that's what is going on. But you'll be able to get the full context if you want. Just it'll be embedded in the post. So thanks for watching. Okay, so
Right.
so does anyone still call you Booby? I'm just curious.
Family, yes.
Okay.
Especially my aunts.
Okay.
My mom, yeah, is booby.
Oh wow. Okay. And B, well, what do you think about that? Just out of curiosity, is it okay with you, or is it something
Oh
you?
yeah,
Oh.
man, it's okay with me. I don't have any reservations or I don't get embarrassed, you know what I'm saying? Whenever they call me that, even if it's out in public, it's fine.
Oh.
I'm cool.
Okay.
But I will cut you. Like I tell my friends, I would like, now I will cut you if you do it. You will not call me booby.
Number two was if you had a choice of anyone alive or dead for you'd have a guest as dinner.
hmm
You chose alive Queen Latifah. And I have to say, like,
hmm
I totally agree with that. She's awesome. It's like,
She's totally awesome, man.
yeah, that is so true. Just like a real person.
hmm
And then you had a lot of civil rights and like famous civil rights activists, which I liked: Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey. Definitely on that tip. So, like people today, I don't know, like there are current, contemporary people who, live up
hmm
to that standard anymore. What do you think about them?
I I think I don't know. I mean, I believe that a lot of it is complacency.
Mm,
I think that now I might be wrong in this vein of thought, but
mm,
I think that once the civil rights movement was over,
mm,
so to speak,
mm-hmm,
and once we were able to go into places physically, go into schools, restaurants, sit in front of the bus and all this, that, and the other, that people started to think, okay, where we've arrived, so it's over,
mm-hmm.
and it's far from over, really. I mean, people even think so now that we have a black president, but that's that's great,
Mm-hmm.
it really is. But the struggle isn't over. I mean, it's still and the struggle has gone off into other areas like gay rights and and things like that. So it's not over.
Yeah, pretty breathtakingly obvious, that it is bigotry and that we still have a long way to go,
Right.
to get people's change people's minds about things. So definitely, like in gay
Right.
rights, I hope there are people, of that caliber, like
hmm
Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, for gay rights. I don't think they exist right now, but
I think they do exist.
mm,
I just don't think they're in the forefront.
right.
People
Mm-hmm.
look to celebrities and people who are well known for civil rights and stuff like that, are so-called leaders in the community.
Mm-hmm.
They look towards them, and we have a lot of people within the community that are just not at the forefront. They're just as vocal. They don't get a lot of airtime.
Right.
Whether it's for marriage equality, whether it's for civil rights for everyone, they're there,
Yeah.
but they just don't get that kind of play unless it's on the internet or YouTube or something like that. You
Right.
can find them on there, and
Yeah.
that's what's great about social network.
Yeah.
You can get out there. You don't have to rely, on the television networks to you know, put your face out there. So
Right. Number three was making a telephone call. Do you rehearse, and what do you think about people who do? Oh, and I guess the gist of your answer was, it is a good idea to order your thoughts before you open your mouth.
right,
And
and I don't always follow that, but yeah,
yeah,
I've recently and learned and still am, still learning how to be in a state of constant gratitude. because people tend to worry about a lot of things. And and something interesting, my mother, she has infused faith in me all my life, right? But since times have gotten kind of rocky a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
so I noticed that she spends a lot of time worrying,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you can't really serve two masters. You can't say, well, I have faith that God would carry me through anything, and you constantly worrying about losing sleep over this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And especially since the layoff, I just refuse to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just refuse to, because I've noticed that whatever comes up and whatever I stress over ends up taking care of itself anyway. Um, I would, I think in a lot of ways, I think it would have been cool
Mm-hmm.
to have a brother or a sister, especially if they was like closer to my age,
Mm-hmm.
rather a little bit older, little bit younger. But looking at how the way my mom and her siblings interact, I kind of count my blessings on that too. So I guess
Yeah.
it just depends. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Yeah.
um, but I used to kind of envy it a little bit growing up.
Mm-hmm.
My friends having brothers and sisters that was in the house and stuff like that. Um, but I survived. I learned to, I had a billion imaginary friends. My
Mm-hmm.
imagination was really active, which is probably why I'm so creative today.
Mm-hmm.
And I had friends and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
one of my paternal grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
she had dementia
Okay.
before she passed. Well, she was beginning to have it more so. And I don't know. I mean, you can be healthy and and forget everything like that's important to you, like memories and stuff like that. You start forgetting the people that you love. People who suffer from Alzheimer's and stuff, and I think that's to me that's kind of worse than just not being able, just being paralyzed and having your mind. So at
Right.
least you have your mind, at least you have your memories, at least you have your thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
which are all a part of you.
Right.
Your awareness of yourself.
Right.
And right, because so many people spend a whole lot of time, like I said, worrying about this or afraid to do this, or and come on, I mean, you only have one life to live, so I mean, you go
Yeah.
out there, you make a mistake. If you're healthy enough and able enough, you can go a different course.
Mm-hmm.
Every little thing you try shouldn't have to have all these fatal consequences to it.
Right.
So
Um.
right, and but that realization didn't come to me until like a year or maybe 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I started doing some math in my head, and I
Mm.
wasn't like, hold on, I was like, in 15 years I'm gonna be 50,
Mm.
and then 10 more years after that I'm gonna be 60, then 70. I like, time seems to be speeding up. I'm an old man almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of a sudden 80 years old does not seem that far away.
Right.
So it's like, wow. So that's when I was, deciding on exactly what I wanted to do in terms of chasing my dreams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, you're not 21 anymore. So
Yeah.
if you're going to do it, you need to do it,
Yeah.
or, 'cause
Yeah.
where does one go from there? It's like, because people base a lot of who they are from the people that they come from,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know, and but on the flip side of that, you still who you are from the people that you come from, even though if you're not blood, because their experiences and their raising you is what shaped you.
Right.
So blood is part of it, because you can have a mother and father and never see them in life.
Right.
The only contribution they made was to continue the bloodline type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I guess once you kind of like get over that, you know what I'm saying, the notion of um, being the who raised you versus who contributed to you being it.
I guess a lot of times we have that fear about about being adopted or whatever. But isn't that even a better thing that you were chosen if you were adopted. Like you had your choice of children that you could have picked, and you picked this child, to be yours, versus you just mixed up some semen and eggs. You get what you get, you don't get to choose that. so,
Right.
so in a way, yeah, like, yeah, this weird fear that I think everyone has, but having faced it myself, I realized I actually would not mind finding out I was adopted. It's like it would definitely change your views on things. First of all, I know I wasn't because I look way too much like my family, but
Right.
knowing that, but still, knowing like medical things, that's nice to know. Um,
Hmm.
but still, yeah, I don't know.
I
Find
mean, it's nice to know your background,
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature. But what it boils down to, family, family and blood can be two different meanings, even
Mm-hmm.
though it shouldn't.
Yeah.
But just because someone is blood related doesn't necessarily make them family. It make you relatives,
Right. Yeah.
but it doesn't necessarily make you family. It just all depends on, the people who's there to care with you, share these experiences with you, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Knowing that, I remember there's this phenomenon of people who just look like each other. Like people's
Hmm.
doppelgangers. And I see this on Facebook all the time because you just are able to connect with people more. And it's funny. Like I was just on some chat website, and I ran across a doppelganger of my boyfriend, and I swear, like
Hmm.
fucking identical looking dude. I thought it was him. I was like, "You fucking with me?" He got this other picture on his website, and I thought it was him, and I was like, "Oh my god, okay." So I messaged him,
Right.
found out it was just someone completely different, and then of course they turned or they said something. When we talked, I found out they don't even really look like them, but there's this
Hmm.
phenomenon. People will look like each other. And when it came down to it, I realized is that we're all kind of genetically related to each other.
Yeah.
And so this idea of close relationships to people, while, special, is also kind of overrated, like,
Right.
because we're all kind of related, in this weird,
Right.
distant way. But yeah.
Okay. So I started school on schedule right
Mm-hmm.
after graduated from high school in '94.
Mm-hmm.
I went for about, I say, 2 years because we was on quarters then, so
Mm-hmm.
it kind of dragged out depending on how many classes you took.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I got the core curriculum done, was going into my major. Then I stopped going because I was working, and at the time, going back to being young and dumb, you know, I was working. I was making what I thought was a decent amount of money, and I, was buying my own car and stuff like that. So I was like, well, shit, I already got a job, so you know what I'm saying. So whatever, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Until years later, I was like, this job sucks. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let me go back and finish my degree. And that's what I did. And I just made the decision to finish my degree, sadly, the year after my grandmother passed.
Yeah.
She passed that summer. So by that winter, well, I guess spring semester, it would be
Mm-hmm.
because they changed 2 semesters.
Mm-hmm.
So by the spring semester, I was back in school, and I finished by 2006.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of like Magneto. I kind of like what they did with him in X-Men First Class.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I like that Magneto. You know
Yeah,
what
that's
I'm
true.
saying?
Yeah, that's
That
true.
Magneto was badass for real. I like, yes. I
Yeah.
like villains, man. I don't know why. I just like villains
Oh
because
yeah.
villains do the most.
Yeah, they do. No
They do
doubt.
the most.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Even the Disney villains, they are so funny.
yeah. No doubt. I think that's a good point. Like, villains that have, a history, especially Magneto. Yeah, Magneto is
Yeah.
awesome. Because you can understand where he's coming from, and they did give him a nice,
Hmm.
you know, reason to be fucked up. You know.
Right.